What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we've got big news on the One Piece TCG. The finals, the World Finals happened today, and with that we got a big announcement. It was the announcement we were waiting for. It was the announcement we were expecting. It was, of course, the ban list for the One Piece TCG, which does tend to get refreshed around about the World Finals. What got hit? A lot. We got 4 cards getting banned. Interestingly enough, there is an argument that the biggest decks didn't actually get hit here. We'll talk about that as we go through. So the first, and what I think is one of the more obvious bans we've ever had, the Gecko Moria from OP06 has gone and been banned. This is one I'm honestly surprised it took as long as it did, to be honest with you. Like, Black has been absolutely huge pretty much the entire time that this has been legal. It's been phenomenal the entire time. It's always been a great card, and it's always made Black decks a lot better. One of the very best decks in the West right now, obviously the Black-Yellow starter deck Luffy, and yes, obviously that is playing this Gecko Moria. We saw Lucci crushing this weekend, and obviously Lucci will be playing the Black Gecko Moria. It is one of the most overpowered broken cards we've ever seen in the game. It is absolutely no surprise that it got hit. I'm honestly kind of surprised it didn't get hit earlier. This is a card that I could have seen being banned very, very quickly. It's a little bit surprising it took as long as it did. Now, what we got here is an 8-cost 9k. On play, you get to choose a character of a cost of 4 or less and a character of a cost of 2 or less from your trash. Play one, and then play the other one rested. So you play it and you get 2 extra cards. That's obviously ridiculous and phenomenal. It's obviously overpowered, and I don't think anyone's going to be looking at this going, oh, hang on a second, that wasn't even that good a card. Nah, mate, this card was flat out broken. Here's the thing, though. The best Black deck right now, I think pretty conclusively, the best Black deck right now is Blackbeard. It was the second best deck in the OP10 meta over in Japan. It was the second best deck in the EBO2 meta over in Japan. And we don't need to ask, well, is there any chance Blackbeard's going to play this? No! Because Blackbeard's got a static skill whereby your on-play skills don't work, and this is an on-play skill. So there's no question of whether Blackbeard cannot play this. It is not a thing for Blackbeard. So that's just not happening. And then, of course, if we look at the OP10 meta, we saw that Usopp, very good deck, part Black. But that's very much a Dressrosa deck. And this is not a Dressrosa card. So it's very unlikely that you're going to see it there either. So the best Black decks right now, arguably, aren't playing it. Again, yes, I know we did see Lucci crushing this weekend. That has not escaped me. The point I'm making here is, great card, absolutely broken, always made Black amazing, but there is an argument right now that the best Black decks are not actually playing it. Although, again, to be 100% clear, this is a phenomenally, ridiculously great broken card, which has caused problems in the past and will cause them in the future. The ban is absolutely warranted as far as I'm concerned. The other character card that got hit here was Jinbe. 4 cost, 5k, counter plus 1,000, and on play, you play a 7 Warlords of the Sea character with a cost of 4 or less other than Jinbe from your hand. And this one is incredibly straightforward to see what's going on. Blue Doflamingo got too big. Simple as that. Blue Doflamingo was pretty good, really quite good initially, fell off a little bit, had a big resurgence lately, and essentially this is just a way of limiting it. Right now, if you look at the past few months over in the West, this has been by far the best deck. In the OP10 meta over in Japan, it was the best deck. In the EBO2 meta, a good deck, a very playable deck, not the best deck. although still a very, very good deck. And essentially getting rid of this is just the best way to keep it in line. Because Doflamingo, of course, Dawn X2, when attacking, pay 1 to reveal a card from the top of your deck. If it's a 7 Warlords of the Sea of a cost of 4 or less, you may play the card rested. But Jinbe, of course, is a 4 cost or less 7 Warlords of the Sea, so you can use your Doflamingo leader, use the skill, and we got a million ways now to make sure Jinbe is on top of the deck. That is not an issue. And then you play Jinbe for free, or for 1 cost, but then you get to play another card for free as well, and just really start to cycle those cards down. And like I say, this is a very, very unsurprising ban. This isn't one where we look at it and we go, well, hang on a second, it didn't need it. No. This deck has been oppressively good for a while now. And like I say, I know it took a bit of a step back in the EBO2 meta, but if it's really good a couple metas in a row and then stops being the best deck but is still absolutely viable, we end up with a deck that people are looking at. But there were a couple of event cards that went and got hit as well, one of which, incredibly obvious, OPO2 Ice Age. This is another card that we could have seen a mile off was going to be banned. Essentially, with Ice Age here, it's just way too good for the associated cost. You know, this is a card that came around before yellow was even a thing, and it's still a staple in a million different black decks. It is a 1 cost that gives a -5 cost for the turn, or as a trigger, KOs a 3 cost or less. Phenomenal 1 cost. Black plays by reducing cost of your opponent's cards and then taking advantage of it. Having a 1 cost, which can reduce your opponent's cost by 5, that is absolutely absurd. Although it generally doesn't seem to play much of a role in Blackbeard. It is played a lot in Usopp decks and in the vast, vast majority of black decks, let's be clear. But it is Blackbeard decks don't generally tend to find room for this one because it's a different kind of deck. You're playing a different game plan, so Ice Age becomes less of a thing. Generally speaking, you'll play all the Blackbeard Pirates events in Blackbeard rather than playing something like Ice Age. You know, I've been looking at a whole bunch of decks this morning to double check. I'm just not seeing Ice Age popping up in Blackbeard decks really at all. But this is still redonkulously good. And again, Lucci did crush this weekend. So, you know, it's not the only black deck that did, let's be clear. A lot of black decks did very, 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 very well. So, the point I'm making here is that for the cost, this was just too good a card. What was the other card that got banned? Because there were 4 in total. Well, we had 1 more banned card, and it was the event Kingdom Come from EB01. Yep. They went and hit yellow as well. And this is another card that players of the game are going to look at and be like, yeah, okay, fine. It is a 6 cost card that says, KO one of your opponent's characters, then trash cards from the top of your life until you have 1 life left. As a trigger, you get to KO an opponent's character with a cost equal to or less than the total of yours and your opponent's life. And this was Yellow's way of getting rid of big characters. This was Yellow's way of going, right, I'm going to pay 6 Don here, and I am going to KO any character that I want to. And now it's gone. And some people have already pointed out, and I don't think this is unfair, some people have already pointed out that what's Yellow going to do now against big threats? When really big cards come around now, what are you going to do about that? And the answer is, yeah. What are you going to do about that? It is a fair question. Best yellow deck in the OP10 meta was Kid, your yellow Kid deck, which play the card, but it's not like an automatic 4 of in there, like a lot of the other ones we see. Now, to be fair, the other yellow deck we do see seeing a bunch of play lately is Anel, and Anel absolutely will be playing this card. This is a card we are generally expecting to see in Anel, and it is a card we very often see as a 4 of in Anel decks for pretty obvious reasons. So, yeah, in Kid, less so. In Anel, absolutely. There is an argument here that it's left some yellow decks a little bit unprotected against big threats. So where are we left? Well, Doflamingo got a lot weaker, the removal of Jinbe. Doesn't kill the deck outright, but it gets a lot weaker. Yellow decks are going to miss Kingdom Come, but decks like Nell are going to miss it a bit more than some others. And then black cards with Gecko, Moria, and Ice Age have been hit very hard. But then again, the best black deck right now is Blackbeard, and Blackbeard doesn't really play either of those cards. So there is an argument that the big winner here is Blackbeard. Because essentially all the cards that are being hit here are just not hurting Blackbeard at all. Blackbeard loving it. And I did warn you the other day that Luffy, the brand new one that just came around in OB11, which is doing very well in Japan right now, what looks to be the best deck in Japan right now, doesn't care. It's part blue, but it's probably not playing Jinbe. So in the West, you know what? Get ready for a lot of Blackbeard, because that's what we're going to be seeing. Over in Japan, we are going to be seeing a lot more of that Luffy. Is it the only viable deck? No, obviously not. But is it a very strong deck that is not really impacted at all by the bans? Yeah, it really is. There we go. That's what you need to know. And now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about all of this. Tell me which of these cards you are going to miss. Tell me what decks you think are going to be the best moving forward. Tell me your thoughts, your feelings, your predictions, and anything else in the comment section. Get us! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.